we have quorum. And we have Juan Gonzalez present, Eva Montoya, Jorge Gonzalez,
Present.
and Jose Zuniga he'll be absent, and myself, I'm here.
Yes, sir. You have a quorum, sir.
Okay, we're gonna start with item number 3, approval of the minutes for March the 20th, 2019. I don't know if everybody had a chance to review it.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Second by Eva Montoya. So, motion passed.
When you need to call for a vote. You need to call for a vote.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. Any opposed?
Any opposed? Okay,
Motion passed.
motion passed.
Yeah.
Okay, item number 4, citizen comments. Okay, this is,
Nobody signed up, right? No comments?
No, we don't have any comments. I just know we have Gary here that'll probably speak on the item.
Okay.
okay, next item, treasury report. We have the financial update.
Mr. Chairman, and Board, I'm going to deal with community development. We presented to you in your packets here the bank statement or the account. You have a balance of $103,936.39. Which is just a small difference due to a deposit of $105.32 and some improvements of $12.581 for that.
I move that the treasurer's report be approved as presented.
A second.
Anyone opposed?
You need to vote. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next item, we have the finance operation in 2019 budget update by Capstone Real Estate Services with a discussion and possible action on Hamilton Apartments repairs, improvements, leases, operations, and management.
Hi, good afternoon, Sandra Perez with the Hamilton. We are gonna review March 2019 variance operation report. Books for April were not, final books for April were not out. It's attached, and the expenses are as follows. We had a total income, we were negative 76.18. This is due to rent increase. We get a rent increase by our compliance department annually, so we are bringing the tenants up to the new rent as we renew. So this will decrease as we do the renewal process. And then we lost tenants, so we were trending at 90. I'm happy to report that we should be back up to a 92 on Friday, so 92, 93 on Friday. So that is gonna increase the income there also. Total repair and maintenance, we were positive. We stayed right on budget, having a positive variance of $29. Monthly expenses, we were also positive there. We've been managing expenses, and we've been staying on target. Utilities was a good positive variance there. Promotion was also positive, $220. General administrative, we were positive there, $37.20. Taxes and insurance, that is negative due to the MIP insurance now that we have to pay on a monthly basis. So it's $16.42 negative. Miscellaneous, we were positive. Miscellaneous is anybody that leaves with a balance on their ledgers. So we didn't have loss there, so we were good. Total operating expenses, positive $67.43. Total operating income, negative $875. And then the net income, we were budgeted at $9,653. The variance was minus $37,284. This was due to the water heater that was approved, but that water heater was also submitted for the reserve replacement, so we should get that money back. So looking at this, we were still positive about $3,000, approximately. I wanna report that the rent for El Catan was increased effective 5/1. It increased to 1875 monthly. Palomita Provider Services, one of the units should increase June 1st, and then the second unit should increase November 1st. And they're in agreement with the rent, with the increase in rent, so it was,
Did they sign a lease agreement? Have they
Mr.
executed one?
The Palomita Provider Services have signed their lease. Mr. Rocha has not signed his lease. He's still pending to give me back his lease signed. He hasn't returned it to me. I have been asking him for the lease and he hasn't returned it to me. So yeah, his rent's already paid and he paid the full amount, the 1875, so we're still pending to receive his signed, lease.
So both water heaters have been replaced, right?
No, we're still
We're
pending to
still paying one.
replace one, yeah, we're
Okay.
still pending to replace one.
Okay.
Yes. Also wanted to report, I think Mr. Suniga wanted to report on what we had in the reserve account. We still have money left over from the refinance loan. We have approximately $53,407 left over for that. And then, the replacement reserve, we have about $4,100. We have $267,000, but we have to keep in reserve at all times $165,000, so that is what we have in the reserve, account.
And we already used a portion of it
For the water,
Water,
yes,
yes.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, I think that was the information that was requested, for this meeting.
Were we gonna be checking that, the cost of the modification of those tubs, the bathrooms?
Yes, we were gonna, Hamilton, what we do now is that we don't pay for those repairs. Once somebody comes in and asks for a modification, we either try to have the resident go through one of the programs that will help them with that, because, okay, we are not obligated to convert those tubs into showers. So that's what we try to do. I think we were gonna go and get some, estimates to see how much it would cost for us to do it in case we are required to do it, but we're not required to convert them into showers, I'm sorry. Yes, but we have reached out to vendors, and the approximate cost to convert them would be about $3,800. Approximately an average about $3,800.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, next item, update with possible action regarding capital improvement plan in building repairs and maintenance priorities.
Did you bring
I'm sorry, the what?
the CIP, where you
Capital
at with the capital improvements? I
The
know-
capital improvements, we've reached out to vendors for it. The main thing that we were gonna look at was the doors, the
Yes.
cost for the doors, and we're still acquiring, quotes for that. The doors, and then Mr. Garcia asked me to get an electrician for the lights, the exterior lights. Just the lights, because the awning and stuff, we were put on hold to the historical, side of it. So we are getting quotes for the lights and for the doors. That is what we're working, the main thing that we're working on now, which is the priority, I think, for us at the moment.
Okay, let's move on to the next one, update by Crown Castle with discussion and possible action regarding the placement of antennas atop of the existing tower structure within the rooftop lease area.
Mr. Chairman, you have, Crown Castle representative here, Gary, here to discuss any questions you might have. They're going through the process of trying to, put their antennas up there. Obviously, they have the rooftop easement. And now they got clients that, are looking at trying to set up antennas on their antenna tower, not on the billboard. They need, our approval since it's, for the historic, review process. They need our approval. They're here to request that from you. They put the picture of what they're
Before and after.
proposing, before and after, and I'll let Gary talk about it.
Yeah, actually, this is, I believe, the third time that we've come before you requesting this. I think the other solution was to put the antennas on skid mounts to be just placed on the rooftop. Our engineers came back and said, structurally, that's not an option, and with potential wind speeds, they could be an issue. So we went to the second option, which was mounting them on the billboard frame that's existing there. And I think the assumption early on in that was that we had rights to that as part of the easement agreement. And then I believe after some discussion back and forth, it was determined that that's actually the sign that belongs to the Hamilton building and part of the sign still. So we Sprint entertained a short-term arrangement to utilize that frame for about 12-month period, I believe that's right. They really never went forward with that, so no equipment was mounted on that. So Sprint kind of backed out of that, but Crown Castle, just in an interest of good faith and trying to, is looking at options to at least compensate for, or partial compensation for that consideration of, entertaining that solution, short-term solution. So what we're requesting today is a permanent solution, utilizing the existing tower that's, or the structure that's atop the building currently. So what you have before you is, the photo simulations of what it looks like now, and then what the proposal is to mount that equipment on the actual tower, which that's kind of the purpose. It's probably the first place we should have started, rather than the rooftop. And then, of course, after this, we would have to go through the historic review process as well, and then again for permitting. I do have engineer reports to attest to the structural capability of not just the tower, but also with the building. So they ran two separate structural analysis reports on both to ensure the integrity of the structure and the building, of course. And also just want to mention that since we came to you requesting this solution for Sprint, placing antenna, T-Mobile also has interest in this, and they're working on including equipment on the tower itself. So the photo simulations you have show also the T-Mobile solution. So that's both Sprint and T-Mobile that would be sited on the tower. And
How many more could you put on there if another vendor comes to you?
I think the capacity is really, really low, so we could potentially lease it up with a couple of more carriers if that was something they wanted to reach out to us with.
And structurally, it'll work. I mean, 60-mile-an-hour winds won't topple that thing over and down into the street.
Well, I'm not an engineer. I do have the engineering reports.
But I'm sure they've
For both of
looked at that.
They actually, there's a, the International Building Code, well, there's actually one for towers as well. And they ran these reports based upon 120-mile-an-hour ultimate wind speed. And then, of course, it goes into detail, like, okay, 120 mile an hour for, 3 seconds or 5 seconds? I mean, they break it down pretty pretty detailed, because, obviously they have to stamp and approve this, so.
Just wondering, because we've had some 60-mile-an-hour winds, and
Sure.
I don't know what that does to
Well,
an
the
antenna up
standard
there.
on at least from the coast is 120 mile an hour. Now, when we do this in Corpus Christi or any of the, along the, it actually increases based on those wind events that occur, even without a hurricane. I mean, they still get a lot more wind, I would suspect, than what you guys might get here.
Does it have lights on it at night?
I think so.
If you have a little flying helicopter?
It's required.
Yeah.
But the only thing, well, for him, he just needs approval since we're the board is the property owner of the building. So for it to go to the next phase for the historic, it needs board approval. The only thing I have to mention to the board is, we did have a lease established with them, and we haven't gotten one penny.
That's what I spoke to, the short-term
Yeah.
lease, and that's something that we're actually finalizing that now, and it's a portion of what that 12-month
Yeah.
agreement was. So on that's as far as I can speak to that, but I do know that there's a compensation package being put together, and I'm hearing that it's between $1,500 and $3,000. And that's just for the consideration, no work was ever done.
Per month? Or
No.
total, just
No.
one time,
Since they didn't use it after all, I guess that's what they're saying.
So they're supposed to be paying these?
but that was for using the
Okay,
the frame,
they
the
were
frame
gonna
of
lease
the,
it to put the antenna on the billboard frame. So that would have halted our option to put the sign back up if we ever decided to do that.
so on this,
that's
where this is, there's no
Months of
compensation.
fine. I don't recall. I just wanted to let you know about that, we haven't gone.
Yeah, on the big tower, there
There's no
will be no
compensation.
compensation because
No.
they already have
They
the
already-
lease for
Yeah,
it.
they're only that. The only thing that we had
Was the other one.
was the actual billboard frame, because it was gonna be on the billboard frame, not necessarily on the frame, but on the actual where the billboard sign is to be on.
And surprisingly, just as a footnote to that, structurally, that's a very, the integrity of that billboard structure is pretty
Pretty
strong. So if you went and put
The letters back on.
the letters back on,
Okay.
you'd be okay.
And I'm sure you guys have insurance for that antenna, and are we named as additional insurance in case something happens?
So it's, up to the board what they wanna do, I mean.
So I would recommend when they get current, I guess we can do it with the lease monies,
Okay.
Well, yeah.
because then we're gonna authorize them, maybe they won't give us the $3,000 either.
So the lease that we had initially was for the consideration of us, letting them construct
Right.
on it. And then they brought back the actual lease and that was never, finalized.
By us?
Everyone know, by them, they were, I think they opted to probably then go on the.
No, there was a second lease that was presented to the board and that one wasn't
Oh.
finalized because it was when the board wanted, legal to review it and that never, so it was a two-part lease.
So I guess you guys wanna, you have more or less, he already mentioned the amounts that they're gonna be reimbursing the board.
Well, we can approve it contingent getting our money.
What's the amount that we're,
That's
the
it.
three?
$3,000.
Which we'll turn around and put back into the hotel for the elderly or whatever.
So you might wanna tell them, so that approval's contingent on getting that.
Okay, my only concern with that is with contingencies based on our, this project and holding the lease rights and the interest in that lease rights. Moving forward, that could potentially, if say Verizon wants to come back and, that could be another opportunity for the board to say, well, that would be fine, we will prove this contingent on whatever it may be. And I believe that the perpetual lease arrangement is just,
I think, Gary, the issue is that, I think in all good faith and honesty, the board got into that lease with Crown Castle, expecting to get that amount of money per month, and, it never happened.
Never happened.
So I think that's, I wanted them to be aware of that, Jay, because, I know I've asked for payment.
One penny.
I mean, I don't think they have an issue with
No.
antennas.
No, it looks good that way. We just need to get our money.
We could do that separately, I mean, however you guys wanna do that.
So I need an explanation, how much were we supposed to be getting? or it was?
And you have the lease?
It was, so,
550.
so it mentioned 550 per month.
Per month for
And
12
how
months.
many
For
months?
12
But
months.
it, but
For
it
12
had
months.
no initiation date.
Right. So we were gonna get around 6,000, a little bit over $6,000.
Actually, I think the initiation date occurred when the equipment was installed on the structure. Unless there's,
Yeah, it just said commencement date of the short-term lease to coincide with the commencement of construction of the telecommunication antenna, so since there was no actual construction.
Oh, okay, so it's basically, okay.
Correct.
but in good faith,
Yeah.
they wanted to get a portion of that, just to show, cause there was discussion back and forth, so for consideration, we were going to, offer that up. Crown Castle was, not Sprint, I wanna make that clear.
Yeah.
And there's no lease money due.
No, don't say that. They haven't even installed it.
So there was never a construction of the telecommunications
No, so at least-
antenna from equipment, so
No.
they technically,
They didn't
they
start.
didn't start,
Yeah.
so they don't owe us.
They don't know, unless they wanna just done a good faith, when they said, just go ahead. So,
They own the antenna, I mean,
yeah, no,
it's theirs.
Yeah, they just need your approval for the historic side of it. And for the building.
And if we said no, then it could hurt their chances with Sprint
Oh,
and
yeah.
T-Mobile.
Yeah, and potentially causing them
So
injury.
in a
Which,
matter
which,
of that
which hurts
service
the
in the area.
consumer and which hurts the citizens, so.
And then later on, you would maybe add more antennas or what? Or how would this
If,
work?
if other carriers showed interest in going there, that would be something we would consider and bring back to you, because we'd have to go through the whole building, historic and permitting and so forth. But I will say as a side note, that this is really in preparation of 5G being deployed here, so it,
I don't wanna hold up hurting citizens, cause if we don't do this, then, it delays all of that, and the consumer's the one that ends up getting hurt and whatever, and it is their antenna, whatever. It would be nice to get that check from them. Hopefully you guys wouldn't come back and say no.
no, that's not our
Cause
history.
that'll make you guys really look bad. So I move that we go ahead and approve it,
No.
with the understanding that
That
we
would-
will get at least that compensation.
You're moving,
To approve
To approve.
to,
I second.
for them to go ahead and do that. Cause I don't wanna hurt the consumer, I don't wanna hurt our citizens.
So,
Second.
Motion, second by one.
so we have, the approval for the,
Yeah,
Motion.
motion by Jorge
And second.
and second by Eva Montoya,
oh, no,
By
no,
one.
by Juan
Okay.
Gonzalez. Anyone opposed?
No.
No, you have to,
All in favor?
you have to vote.
Anyone in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So motion passed.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question. What would you need for my portion since I'm on site? Cause I had visitors come in, I had the engineer come in, and then I had some other people come in wanting access. Now that we have a gate to limit access to the rooftop, what would you need from me? Would I be?
If it needs to be scheduled,
Okay, yes.
or if there's credentials that the
Yes.
contractors need to get,
Okay, mhm.
then we can work with you on that and say
Perfect,
that,
uh-huh.
you can only do it this time, or we wanna be mindful that,
Yes, cause I was even getting calls asking if somebody was available on the weekends. Our schedule is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and then of course if we need to schedule after hours or something, that isn't a problem because I do have maintenance staff that comes in Saturdays and Sundays with limited time frame. But yes, I would, if it could be, maybe
Absolutely.
scheduling, and that way I know who's gonna show up to the site and limit.
do you have a card with you? Because I will take this back to our team and make sure that.
I didn't bring one, but I'll be more than glad to give you the
Okay.
info. Mhm.
So worst case scenario,
Sorry.
we have like
Oh.
a bad,
That's okay.
when the antenna flips, they are responsible.
They have insurance. They should have
for all
insurance
of
for
that?
that.
Yeah,
Then,
They should.
For
Yes.
damages?
we, there's, Crown Castle, of course, is self-insured, I mean, it's
Now you guys have.
a Fortune 500 company, so they do have the portfolio insured, for if you need like details on that and how it's insured, we can absolutely provide that information.
I think we should have that for our files,
Yes.
and then see if we're named as an additional insurer in case something were to happen. I don't know, I haven't seen that, so.
I'll be sure
Just
to
so,
get
just
you
so
that.
somebody doesn't come back and says, no, you guys are, that, I can see that antenna falling on somebody down there and killing somebody, and then, oops, what happened?
No, it's structurally sound.
I mean,
Right.
Nothing
you never, I
wrong
mean,
with it, so-
no, we,
I don't want any
no,
misperceptions that there's something wrong.
no, I.
No, no, but-
We have
No,
to
no,
be
no,
here.
stuff,
So-
stuff happens, I mean, if, I don't think it will happen to the engineers, I'll restate that. The engineers have tested that and up to 120-mile-an-hour winds, and
Yes.
it shouldn't happen. But insurance is
Correct.
needed, and we just need to verify, that's all I'm saying.
Yes.
No, nothing's gonna happen.
You know, and interestingly enough, along the Gulf Coast, we didn't lose any towers during any of the storms, but we did lose power to them. So they were pretty much ineffective, a lot of them, because of the lost power.
Right.
So now T-Mobile and Sprint are going back down there and putting backup generators. So they're trying to make it foolproof, so.
There's a lot of wires there and stuff anchoring, so it looks strong.
Okay, let's move on to the next item, discussion and possible action regarding the historic Southern Hotel conversion and rehabilitation into a mixed rental income project.
This is just an item that I wanted to bring to the board, the historic Southern Hotel is right next to it, it's that three-story building next to the Hamilton. You can't really see it, the Rialto's blocking it, but, it's been vacant, it's in the same dilapidated condition as the Hamilton was, probably, 20 years ago. We are, from the staff side of the city, we're looking at, the renovation and conversion of that building to housing. Mixed use, mixed income,
Thank you.
so it would be not low income or elderly focused, it would be, multiple, incomes and mixed use on the bottom. Also taking into account the current, stuff that's going on there. We're just looking at, possibilities. Having been that the southern, the Hamilton was renovated and financed and constructed using the Finance Corporation, I wanted to just get the board support so we can advise city management and city council that you would be willing to consider taking on that project if it were an option.
Doing it the same
It
way?
would be open to any person that wants to render?
What's that?
Would it be elderly?
To every?
Well, we're talking very preliminary, the proposal that we as staff were kinda looking at or are trying to develop ideas on how to convert it, rehabilitate it.
How many
What
rooms?
options
How
we
many
have,
rooms?
what entities to use like you all, to finance a building and run the building, or maybe the city wants to still maintain. I mean, there's many options, but right now we're looking at mixed income,
Mhm.
mixed use.
Okay.
So that means
You said it's 3 stories?
if you want, the main proponent for financing would be a HUD Section 108 loan, very similar to what was done with the Hamilton. The only requirement that we have is that half of the units would have
If
to
it,
be,
if it uses, section
Sorry.
108 loan, it has to be 51% low mod. So, I
Well, that's
think
what
we
our
were
mission
looking
is.
at if we were looking at an old proposal that is like 10, 15 years old, there was about the capacity for about 10 units. So let's just say if it's 10 units, both on the counting second and third, that would be 6 would have to be low income with 51% and 4 would be market rent.
so that would be
That's just an
mixed income.
example.
So that's what we call mixed income.
Okay.
That's
So you wouldn't just be low income or concentrating them there, no, it would be mixed income, so you have that mixed income. And then on the bottom floor would be mixed use. So there would be no requirement either on that one to be.
No,
low
we
income,
can
it
leave
would just be regular
either a
business.
community center, or we would actually maybe rent out a space similar to what we're doing in the Hamilton. It would be up to,
Who's gonna do the study or what?
Right now, preliminary stages, we're looking at it, just wanna get the board's, input.
I move that
I
we
mean,
look at it.
Yeah, so that you can consider it.
We should
and then-
consider it. I move that we consider it.
Yeah, so,
So, but right now it's vacant,
it's vacant.
completely vacant?
the
Yes.
second and third
Well,
floor.
Second and third
Yeah.
floor.
The first floor has,
Okay.
elderly
Okay.
the elderly rental, like rec center, like, just for elderly, and the other side has, that, New Vision, grocery store, or like,
And
you
who's
know,
running it right now?
thrift store.
Which one?
That one, the building, the bottom.
The building is owned by the city.
The city?
Yes, the building is owned by the city, but in the same concept, from my side as staff, city staff, in thinking about the best way to finance it or redevelop it would be very similar to what the Hamilton was. So it would be a very similar, except without a developer,
Right.
obviously the developer's the city. But that was a private developer that got into partnership with the city, then also had a corporation, there was this big loan. So basically trying to figure that mechanism and look at our options, but obviously I need the board's input, and do you wanna undertake another project like that?
It doesn't do any good to just have it there vacant, so we should look at.
So I'll mention it to city management, and then we can bring it up to
Bring it back.
council, and we can start looking at all those options.
Okay.
So that they can give us a green light or not.
So I made the motion, who seconded it? Evan?
Okay, anyone in favor?
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor.
Anyone opposed? Okay, motion passed.
That's it.
So it's 12:46, meeting adjourned.
I move that
Everybody sign the signing sheet?
we.
I didn't, that's it.
Okay. I'll get to the name of the adjuster and I'll be.